Okay, go. Okay.
Okay, my basic theory is based on analyzing the process of ionization and the energy of the ionization process. All right, when you remove an electron from hydrogen, you now create a proton and an electron. And I can explain the amount of energy required to do that absent fields using Randy Mills' model. And his model is completely a mechanical model of the amount of energy required to remove a shell of material to infinite distance from something that's attracted to by Coulomb's law. However, his model cannot explain the fields that are created because hydrogen starts as neutral, apparently, and at the end I have a negative field with the electron wind and a positive field with a proton wind. And the energy of those fields is enormous. According to standard physics, in fact, each of those fields has infinite energy, which we know is impossible. So my solution to try to understand the full energy consequences of the ionization process is to postulate something that's actually kind of intuitive and obvious, even to the writers of your software, okay, that in fact the fields always exist. They just mask attributes of each other. But not all attributes, but for example, if you have a Randy Mills style atom, it has spherically symmetric electron around a point of positive charge called a proton. Actually, it's not a point, it's got a shape also. Okay, but the net effect is, outside of the atom itself, there's no field, no apparent electric field, because the plus push and the minus pull, whatever, vice versa, cancel each other. Okay? So then when you separate the two charges, the fields are still present. They never went away. They just were masked. So there's no energy consequence in terms of field construction to separating the charges. So the energy conundrum that you have from ionization, the old theory that now you created fields of infinite energy, is no longer a conundrum because you didn't. The fields are always there. Now another aspect to the old theory that's mind-boggling in its stupidity is the idea, well, now I separated the plus and the minus, how long does it take the field to propagate? After all, if you look at the mathematics of fields, they go to infinity, or to the edge of the universe, whatever. Okay? Does that mean when I ionize, suddenly I have to project the field out towards the end of the universe? And how long does that take, and what's the rate of energy that's being created to allow this field to exist? So you have all these dynamical questions which are sort of nonsensical. In this theory, I don't have those dynamic issues because the fields were always there. As a matter of fact, that's a natural consequence of this theory, that the fields have to extend to the end of the universe, which means it's best to describe a charged particle such as an electron as composed of two parts: a physical mass-bearing aspect and a field that has no mass but has energy that extends to the end of the universe. If I apply that concept to every bit of matter in the universe, that means we're all bathed in tremendous energy fields. The universe is a tremendous amount of energy at every point, because every charged species overlapping, its field is overlapping every other one, yet each field is independent. The fields don't interact with each other at all. Now, I can also show this is consistent with magnetism, because in magnetism, normally you say, well, magnetism is kind of a relativistic expression of an electric field. So in the absence of an electric field, how do I have a magnetic field? Yet we all know we have magnets, and they don't have electric fields. Well, in my theory, it's quite obvious, because we do have electric fields. We have electric fields and proton fields. They just cancel the force aspect of each other, so you don't see them. It's a canceling or masking of aspects. But the relativistic aspect is not masked. So therefore, you can have a magnetic field in the absence of an electric field. You can also explain special relativity as being in that if you say, okay, all I have to do is show that my system of the universe is consistent with the two postulates of special relativity. One, that all inertial reference frames are equivalent, and two, the speed of light in all inertial reference frames is the speed of light, same number. And then I say, okay, each charged particle is an inertial reference frame. And since all like electrons are the same, then okay, all inertial reference frames are equivalent. And then naturally, like the head of a drum, they all propagate disturbances within themselves at the same speed, which would be the speed of light. So, and all the other consequences of special relativity, as Einstein showed, just follow naturally. I don't have to go through the math the second time. He's already gone through all of it. So that's the essence of the theory.
Thank you.